Right, let's come back and take a look at the local dailies. Whereas Raila was the headline on the Star on Friday. Ileta shida sana. But leo, kila mtu pick up your story. Raila health wars. A lot of speculation. A vicious rumor war exploded yesterday as ODM and Wiper traded barbs over claims that Raila Odinga is gravely ill. ODM accused a section of the opposition, singling out Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, and Eugene Wamalwa of peddling malicious disinformation after social media posts said the 80-year-old was hospitalized. Raila's camp says he left the country for a brief medical holiday, and Ida Odinga called the rumors baseless. Wiper hit back, calling ODM's outrage political theatre and denying any ill intent. In the end, the speculation persists and the nation waits, still unsure what to believe. A story on page 4. And they have images there of Dennis Onyango, who's a former Prime Minister spokesperson, not ODM spokesperson. I think the party official who spoke was the ODM Nairobi chairperson, Aladwa. That's why they're quoting the party. But the statement that was sent out was sent by Dennis Onyango, said the former DP, Rigathi Gachagua, and his struggling team of Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa, among others, are on a familiar campaign of misinformation on the health of the former Prime Minister. Shakila Abdallah, who is the Secretary General of the Wiper Party, can respond very fast. Any suggestion that His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka wishes harm upon Raila is malicious, reckless, and utterly false. ODM's attempt to drag Kalonzo into internal confusion is a weak distraction from the cracks splitting the so-called broad-based government. Are there cracks? Hapo ndio nimesikia. So that's the main story there. And of course, we'll be looking at this, the health or speculation around the health of a political leader and what it means. Other stories given prominence on the front page of this paper: 4,700 to lose jobs in President Ruto's sugar factories revival plan. The realities of the sugar sector are growing harsher by the day, with mass layoffs looming as revival plans take shape across the sugar belt region. So that's the main story there, and kundani sioni kuma stories zingine nyingi. Very interesting stories there. They're continuing with a serialization of a book by Erastus Mwencha. It's an autobiography, Ambassador Erastus Mwencha kule ndani. Pale nyuma, Slot struggles to solve Reds problems. Walichapwa shida na Chelsea. So they lost that game. Na of course wakasaidia Arsenal kuwakaribia sana. All right. So that's the Standard this morning.
All right. Kisonga mbele. Taifa Leo, afya ya Raila yazua gumzo, malumbano. Chama cha ODM chasema Raila ni mzima kama kigongo, kikifafanua kuwa iwapo angekuwa mgonjwa angesema wazi. Katika taarifa kwa vyombo vya habari jana, ODM iliwafokea viongozi wa upinzani kuhusu hali ya afya ya Raila Odinga. George Alado alisema, ningependa kuwaambia wafuasi wa ODM na wote wanaompenda Raila kuwa kiongozi wetu yu buheri wa afya na tunajua mahali yaliko na afya yake ni imara.
Unajua, hii ni kitu rahisi sana. We're in the age of social media. A simple video or photo would do.
Is enough to alleviate.
It's enough to, no, you see, are these headlines what they needed? Because now they're going around talking about his health. They, ODM officials, they're the ones talking about. Niliona hata deputy party leader wale governor wa Mombasa anaongea sana hiyo maneno, amekasirika sana. I saw the former deputy president also talking about it in an interview yesterday. Na akasema ni ukweli, kama kuna shida siapigwe tu picha mali huko.
Sinijua watu walikuwa wamemuua hadi pale Twitter sana. Anasema Wiper ya kana dai la ODM kwa Kalonzo amekuwa akieneza uvumi kuhusu afya ya Odinga. Sasa hiyo question ya Wiper ilikuwa inaingilia wapi sasa? Where did they get the information that Wiper party was spreading rumors?
If you read those two statements that were released yesterday, the one by his Raila Odinga secretariat and the one by Wiper, and you wonder, okay, what's the problem here? Shida iko wapi?
Shida iko wapi? Haya, yesterday was World Teachers Day and they make mention of it, siku ya walimu duniani. Picha hii hapa ni ya walimu kutoka shule mbalimbali katika kaunti ya Nairobi wakihudhuria hafla ya kusherehekea siku ya walimu duniani katika chuo cha Kenya Science hapo jana. Vidokezo zaidi katika ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili. Uhairishaji wa hafla ya ODM ulivyonishtua, huyu ni Gavana Nasir akieleza jinsi Raila alivyomuita Nairobi ghafla. IEBC yamulikwa kuhusu teknolojia ya kura za mwaka 2027, Go Register za voter bado inaendelea, lakini habari hii inasema kwamba hofu imezuka kuhusu uwezekano wa kuingiliwa kwa mfumo huo pamoja na data yake kwa kutumia teknolojia ya AI. Na kila mzazi wa Litein Boys kulipa shilingi 50,000. Jumla ya shilingi milioni 70 kurekebisha vifaa vilivyoharibiwa.
70 billion shillings. Kwani walichoma nini?
The whole school, yani inakaa mbaya. Wanalala chini.
50,000 shillings. Unapatia mzazi hiyo mzigo saa hii. Sasa ile mwaka inaenda kuisha. Atafute 50,000 shillings. Ndio uweze kurudi shule. Hata watoto saa ingine.
Masuala ya spoti kule juu, anasema Chelsea yapandisha ndovu juu ya meza EPL na Arsenal kukaa kileleni mwa ligi kwa anga majuma mawili. Taifa Leo.
Right. Habari kuu pale, afya ya Raila. Habari hiyo hiyo iko pale juu kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti la Daily Nation. Raila health debate stars political scene. So you can see now those are 3 papers talking about him. That means we have no choice. We have to talk about his health now. ODM leader Raila Odinga traveled out of the country on Friday for an undisclosed mission, with his spokesperson dismissing speculation of ill health and blaming his opponents for spreading the reports. Our story is on page 7. You can read more on that. But the big story there on the front page of the Daily Nation revealed driving schools scandal. There's a fallout. There's an investigation into anonymous emails alleging a bribery scheme that has rocked the National Transport and Safety Authority, NTSA. The whistleblower accounts coming shortly after NTSA had unearthed a racketeering ring through which driving schools bribe examiners for learners to pass tests, compromising road safety. Wale ameenda driving, kuna shule zingine nasikia hata ukienda driving hata siku ya test, hata kuna kitu unafanya. Unaingia kwa gari, ukifunga mlango hivyo naambia haya sawa, shuka. Umepita hiyo mtihani.
Okay.
Examiners, sisemi ni jina gani hizo shule, lakini ziko na wanajijua. Alafu wao ndio wanakuja wanagonga magari za watu wengine huko nje. Read a lot more on that on pages 4 and 5 of this paper. Matters teachers given prominence there on the front page. Wanasema head teachers warn cash crisis hurting exam preparations. Principals say examination preparations are being disrupted by government delays to disburse funds to schools. Yet the CS for Treasury always insists tuliachilia pesa. So pesa ilienda wapi? If Treasury insists they've already released the money. But school principals say they don't have the money. Yet exams are coming. This month actually. KJSEA, kuna KCSE bado inaendelea na wengineo. Hata wale wa grade 6 bado wako na mtihani mwezi huu ama mwezi ujao. Lakini fedha za mashule bado hazijaachiliwa, ama kama zimeachiliwa hazijafika shuleni. Pale nyuma, Victoria's Gor Mahia frets over strike rate. Matter sports on the back page, and that's the Daily Nation.
The Star, the good, bad and ugly of plans to sell parastatals. Lawmakers have opposed plans to privatize or dispose state shares in firms. This story has been covered on page 4 and 5, and this photo here is an aerial view of the East African Portland factory in Athi River near Nairobi. Tuangalie ndani wanasema vipi kidogo. They say efforts to privatize or lease state factories and enterprises have over the years faced endless court battles, political interference and resistance from workers. And even so, the government has always insisted that privatization is the most viable way to stop the financial bleeding of those entities. And they make mention of some of them like Kengen and Safaricom, who have turned out as a success story, and the majority like Kenya Airways and several state-owned sugar farms have disappointed. This story is on page 4 and 5. The good, the bad and the ugly of state plans to privatize parastatals. Other stories here, doctors must not prioritize unborn child in medical abortions, court rules.
It's an interesting story.
It is. Focus must not be on child in medical abortions. Saving the mother's life comes first when emergency abortions are necessary. See, that's how it has always been.
Well, I don't know. I don't know, because ideally it should be. The only termination that is allowed is when the mother's life is at risk. And then to save the mother's life, then you can do that procedure, but not to save the child. That's what they say.
All right, this story is on page 2. You can read more about it. Doctors performing emergency abortions have no obligation to consider the health of the unborn child, the High Court has ruled.
That's interesting.
Raila flies out amid ODM, Kalonzo and Rigathi spat over health rumors. Rumors. Mi naona ni kuwekelea.
Lakini si apige tu picha mali huko. You see what Museveni does this. He releases a video of him running, jogging, even inside his office. Na hiyo rumor inaisha. Even President Moi, there's a time he missed out, and you see, back in the day, news had to start with the president. So he missed out. There was no news about the president for like 2 weeks. Then eventually he just showed up and akatembea. Akasema nyinyi mnasema kitu kidogo, mtu akipata homa mnasema ameenda. Na rumor zikaisha hapa immediately.
Kama ingekuwa Raila, would we be talking about him? If it was somebody else.
Like who?
Somebody else. Wako wengi.
Should we be talking about the health of a political leader? Is it something that should be on our front pages? Do you think it's necessary discussion?
I think it is. Sababu Kenyans have been talking a lot over the weekend.
About that. So it is something that they find relevant to them. Yes? Talking about the health of a leader.
That's the Star.
The Star. Fresh, independent, different. People Daily. How Kenya can finally break free from the tribal cocoon is an analysis. Uko ndani wanazungumzia how Gen Zs coming in to vote could actually change the way Kenyans have been voting and looking at politics, because we've been doing it purely from a tribal perspective or arithmetic. So far they say, okay, fine, Gen Zs probably they will be the ones to end this. So how Kenya can finally break free from the tribal cocoon. Teachers fight for the retention of the hardship pay. That's another story on the inside pages, page 5 of this paper. That's a People Daily. People and politics. Today on Semani Smart Minds.
Finally, Business Daily. 175,000 companies drop off KRA radar amid crackdown. And they say, in the year to June 2025, that is reflecting tax cheating and opportunistic business registration for one-off ventures such as government supply contracts. And data obtained from the KRA shows that around 442,000 of 618,000 firms in the taxman's register filed annual corporate income tax returns, leaving more than a quarter, that is 28.43% of firms in the tax net, as non-filers. This story is on page 2. Other stories here, MPs propose to cap wholesale power prices at 9 shillings per unit. Another story on page 2. School 1 of exam crisis, and teachers from various schools in Nairobi again this photo here as they attended World Teachers Day celebration event at Kenya Science Campus yesterday. On the ticker, Lake Gas take 2% market share of cooking gas imports. Balubai buys extra 626 million shillings shares in Absa Bank Kenya, and Kenya refinances 129 billion shillings bond at a higher cost. That's the Business Daily.
All right. So those are the dailies, and we'll be discussing them with our panelists today. We'll be having Kipruto Rapkirwa, who is a former agriculture minister in the Kibaki 1 administration. He will be in studio alongside Kathy Rungu, who is a governance expert and political commentator. Senator Danson Mungatana, unfortunately, will not make it to the panel today, but this is coming up in a short while. Tuangazie swala ya Karakacha. Let's take a look at